Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name's Alex Gordon from the Business Coaching Club. Today I'll be talking about a fantastic topic, something that probably affects you every day of your life. And if you think about it, it's one of those things whereby no matter what you do, you can't get away from it. Think about data. Think about what you do every day. Running a business, you're running a business, you have a business function as a director to look after the business, and you have compliance to maintain the records of the business, but also you need information from that business. And when the paperwork comes together and it's not organized, it produces utter chaos. Utter chaos. Some people deal with it once a year for compliance. Others try to. But unless you have a system in place, it doesn't make any sense. So today we're going to talk about how we work to remedy that situation. So the topic today is, are you failing your business because you do not know your numbers? Yes. Are you failing your business because you do not know your numbers? My name's Alex Gordon. I've been an accountant for the past 30 plus years, working with small business owners, particularly working with law firms for the past 30 years. And over 20 of those years, I freelanced and ran my own business and just solved problems. They call me in when there's training on accounting software, or they call me in when there's a problem with the software, it doesn't balance, the books are in a mess, they can't make head or tail of it before the end of the financial year. And that's my job. My job was just to go in there and make sense of it. And during that time, I have developed particular expertise for putting records together, for putting systems together, working on most accounting systems. And even if I'm not familiar with the system, I can work my way around the system, because as long as you have a trial balance, there is a route to a trial balance. And as long as you have a trial balance, you can produce a profit and loss account and a balance sheet and eventually a cash flow. The three financial statements. So today we're talking about, are you failing your business because you do not know your numbers? Think about it. Do you know your numbers as a boss? Do you know your numbers as a director? Do you know what you are? Do you know what you're involved in? Do you know how much profit you've made? Do you know, is the profit exact? Is the profit correct? Do you know where you're going? Do you know what's outstanding? I remember working somewhere, and for years, this particular person, the director of the company, the main question he asked me is, how much do we owe and how much came in? Every day he asked those questions. How much do we owe and how much came in? And those are the most disconcerting things, because imagine you've got payroll to make. Imagine you've got insurance to make. Imagine you've got annual subscriptions to make, and the cash flow is weak, and the bank says no to the overdraft. What are you going to do? So are you failing your numbers because you do not know your numbers? Alex Gordon from the businesscoachingclub.com. So let us proceed. So the current landscape, AI is everywhere. Yes, AI is everywhere. AI is everywhere, but is AI the answer? Well, listen to me. Artificial intelligence tools are flooding the market, promising instant answers and effortless management. But clarity is missing. The tools don't give you clarity. You bring clarity to the situation. Clarity is missing. Access to more data has not translated into better business clarity. In fact, for many owners, it has only created more noise. And when we say more noise, there's more confusion in the marketplace about what to do and what not to do with AI for a lot of businesses. More data does not equal better decisions. And you know that. More data does not equal better decisions. It just gets you confused as to which data do you follow. The frustration is real. Too many reports. Drowning in spreadsheets but starving for insight. No confidence. Unsure if the numbers are correct. Unsure if the numbers are correct and up to date. You don't know. Still guessing. Making strategic decisions based on gut feel rather than facts. AI adds noise. Tools generate data faster than you can process it. But you know the saying? Garbage in, garbage out. Speed without direction. The hidden risk. AI makes you faster. Yes, we can admit to that. That isn't the purpose. getting faster? Well, that for AI it is, but is that for you? But if you aren't clear on your numbers, it simply makes you faster at being wrong. You get there much quicker. Speed is dangerous when you are driving in a fog. Have you ever been in a fog? Can't see where you're going and drives and speeding away? So today I want to introduce you to what I call the BKC method. And the BKC method comes from the Business Coaching Club, where we help clients from the numbers. We coach from numbers. My coach once said to me, Alex, everything can be measured. And those are the days when I thought, I was trying to come out of accountancy. I was trying to come out of numbers into speaking and on stage. And he said to me, everything's measured. And even when I was coaching people to speak, he asked me, Alex, what's your currency? How are you going to measure this? Are you measuring it by less stress? Are you measuring it by less overwhelm? It's all a currency. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you have the correct systems in place to provide the information for your business? So the BKC method look at 3 things: clarity, foresight, and oversight. Clarity in knowing your numbers inside out. Foresight, forecast with absolute confidence. Yes, you can look ahead with confidence. And oversight means you stay in control and lead with intent. You're directing the business, you're directing the discussions and all the decisions with confidence. So data versus meaning. AI collects data. Yes. Technology is incredible at gathering millions of data points instantly. Yes. You create meaning, but data is not insight. It is your job to interpret that data and give it It's your job to interpret the data and give it context for your specific business goals. And I think sometimes that's what's happening in our society today. We're adopting technology, we're adopting information, but we're not giving it the context of the business in which we're in. It's general data that everyone else is using. It's general data that everyone else is using. Let me just get this right. Yes. Okay. And so what I'm talking about is the 4 core numbers, right? The 4 core numbers. Now, these are most essential in running your business. There are some other numbers, but these are the basics. Now, imagine a dashboard with this information you have on a weekly basis, telling you and informing you about how the business is doing. The 4 core numbers: your sales, your revenue generation, your cash, the fuel in the tank. Yes. So you sell the product and you get paid. Sometimes you sell on credit, you don't get paid, you raise an invoice and you wait for the money to come in. So the fuel in the bank that's driving the ship is the cash in the bank. The profit is what you actually keep for yourself because you get measured on the profit that you make. And timing is when it all moves. The timing of when the cash comes in, the timing when the invoices go out, the timing of when you pay things. You all have to match those things together for it to make sense. But if you don't have the right information, how will it make sense? Forecasting isn't prediction. Forecasting is about preparation. Why do I say that? Well, listen to this. Simple forecasting elements means what's coming in, what's going out. That's it. What's coming in, what's going out, and the timing of when this happens in the future. The timing of when this happens in the future. And therefore, based on historical information, you can predict the future, or you can use forecasting methods to predict the future. But if you're not actually capturing the information, how are you going to forecast correctly? So the role of AI in strategy, and this is something we need to understand, AI assists you. So AI models scenarios. AI can run thousands of what-ifs simulations in seconds, showing you every possible outcome. But you choose a direction. You hold the compass. You must decide which path aligns with your vision and your values, not the vision and values of AIs. And what's oversight? Oversight's about staying in control. So far we've talked about clarity, we've talked about foresight, and we're talking about oversight, which is mean you're staying in control. moving from fog to focus. Yes, it's unclear. You don't just collect data, you create meaning to get clarity. You don't try to predict, you start preparing based on the information you have for the foresight, and you don't drive blind. You lead with intent, oversight. You lead because you have the information to lead. Our business success depends on knowing your numbers, ignore the noise, know the meaning. So if you don't understand your numbers, you don't control your business. Business ownership is not just about sales, it's about oversight. Without clear data, you are operating on intuition alone. True control requires moving forward, moving beyond the feeling of how the business is doing and knowing exactly where it stands. Now, I remember a particular lady by the name of Cody Sanchez, and her gospel is about ownership. She teaches people to own local businesses in their community. And one of the things that she said when she started out a few years ago buying local businesses, because she came from the city, of course, and she found that when businesses were approached to purchase, or when they approached her to be sold to her, one of the things they were unable to do was to prove their numbers. They were unable to prove their numbers, means they didn't have proper historical records that could show the value of the business based on historical records. Now, they probably did comply for compliance. Once a year, they sent a box to the accountants, and the box of the account, he puts the figures together, but he's not carrying the history of the business so they can review and make sense of the data. Now, compliance and control. Compliance is for the taxman. Control is for you. Most business owners rely on your year-end accounts or delayed P&Ls. The problem, if your numbers arrive months after year-end, you are leading your business with expired information. Imagine 12 months, 15 months after the year-end. You cannot steer a ship by looking at the wake. You can't steer a ship by looking at the back. The reality is compliance looks forward to satisfy the needs of the business. It looks forward to inform strategy. The taxman is your compliant officer. So common mistakes that kill clarity. Using AI before clarity. Automating a mess just creates a faster mess. Technology requires a cleaner foundation. Tracking everything, get lost in vanity metrics that don't matter, creates noise, not signal. Do you understand that? So you have to understand what you're tracking and the reason for you tracking it, and make meaning of the information that you're tracking. Avoiding the numbers, ignoring financial reality until it's too late, is a strategy for failure. But sometimes I don't think it's ignoring it. It's understanding what it all means, understanding how you put it together and how you make sense of the information that you have received. Not everybody understands it. So the fundamental shift, the old way is reacting to fires, yes, constantly putting out urgent issues with no time for strategy. And the new way is leading with intent, anticipating challenges, and navigating calmly towards your goals. Yes, navigating calmly towards your goals. So I think one of the situations is working in your business, and one is working on your business. Working in your business, reacting to fires, putting out urgent issues, your head's always down in the grind. When you lift your head and you look ahead and you lead with intent, you anticipate what's going to happen. You navigate calmly towards your goals. So develop a weekly rhythm. Control comes from a consistent, simple feedback loop. Review, look at the past week's performance objectively, adjust, calibrate your plan based on your new data, and decide, commit to specific actions for the week ahead. So it means it's a system of reviewing and adjusting and deciding all the time, updating your information, creating a dashboard that makes sense to you, one that you understand, and regularly update, review, adjust, and decisions based on that information. So what true control feels like? Calm decisions, no more panic or reactive choices, clear priorities, knowing exactly what moves the needle, fewer surprises, seeing obstacles before they arrive. Confidence leading. Your team trusts your direction. Your team trusts your direction because you do. You trust where you're going, so they trust you. They feel the confidence. So what I want to talk to you today about is having a board level financial reporting in 5 minutes. Gathering from raw PDFs to strategic decisions. 5 minutes or less. Clarity doesn't come from just another tool. It comes from a system designed to translate accounting data into business language instantly. Stop wrestling with spreadsheets and start making decisions. Now, I remember working with some organization, and when you give them spreadsheets, well, I didn't really believe it until they told me that when they look at the spreadsheets, it doesn't mean anything to them. They can't quite read all of it. It's like a massive blur with all the numbers. When I look at a spreadsheet, I can see the lines, I can read the lines, and I can follow the lines. But not everyone's able to do that. And therefore, you have to present information in a way that's palatable, easily understood, to the point, and succinct. Yes? Do you agree with me? Do you put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me? Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with me now. So how it works: good inputs equal reliable insight. Upload your data, your standard P&L balance sheet that you produce. Our system analyzes the data, creating a P&L balance sheet and indirect cash flow reports, and then it gives you an output. Receive a board commentary, visual infographic, and slide deck instantly. And if you're working very hard, you can even get an audio version of what's going on. All right. So what does the output pack? What is in the output pack? You don't just get a data, you get a narrative. Board commentary, written analysis of your financial position, visual infographic, at a glance, health check of the business, full reporting, P&L balance sheet, indirect cash flow statements structured for decision making. So what we're doing here, we're relying on AI to give us the intelligence based on our information. All right. So we put the data together, we make sure it makes sense, we make sure it balances, and there's a complete checklist that I provide that makes sure that the data that we're looking at is concise and is accurate at the point in which we put the information in our system. So therefore, once that's in the system, you then get a full report that's reliable based on your data, the intelligence from the system based on your data. So here's an example. My method is called the BKC method. I talk about it all the time. So imagine a CFO financial reporting pack board report for you, right? I've got one here for a demo company for the fiscal year ended 31st of March 2026. We haven't quite got there, but okay, this is a prediction, yeah? So this is a confidential board briefing. Now imagine this information being produced in less than 5 minutes. You close the month end, you get the accounts done, you reconcile it, you make sure everything is ticked, and you cross the boxes, and then you put it in the system, and within 5 minutes, it's less than 3 minutes, you have this information, but it's tailored towards your needs. So you have a CEO financial reporting pack, which consists of a profit and loss statement, balance sheet and worker capital analysis, cash flow statement and rolling forecast, key performance indicators, operational metrics and variances, strategic initiatives, status update, all based on your information. Now, it's an example here, an executive summary, validated commercial model, critical liquidity risk, the wins, what's happening with your revenue, what's happening with your margins, the risk, the crisis of cash, the paper trap, the immediate liability, and what needs to happen with a recommendation of what needs to happen. Very simple, to the point. Profitability profile, retaining value at scale. It shows you the revenue, it shows you the cost of sales, it shows you the margin, it shows you the expenses overall, and it shows you the net profit margin as well. For every pound, you make 46 pence. Now, think about that. This information at your fingertip for you to make decisions and create a direction for the company. Now, the implementation is done with you. We don't leave you to figure it out alone. We have a live report, live quality review. So we check your P&L and balance sheet, all the supporting information behind it, we check it. We'll just do an overview and check to see, make sure there's some key things we look for, yeah? Based on my over 30 years of accounting experience. Then we set up and install, we configure the workflow. So we speak to you about what you want to see, what you want, and then we configure the workflow to produce that. Then we have a live test and calibration. We test it using your actual PDFs to ensure accuracy. And then we give you a 7-day support to ensure you're up and running. And once you've run it a couple of times, it makes sense, but it also depends on the information you're putting in. So here's an overall review of what the CFO Clarity workflow looks like. There's a pre-check, quality check. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. So we're going to make sure we check that. We upload and map everything in the system. Then we build, the system builds it and provides your board level commentary. And there's an action plan, a mini action plan at the end of what you need to do. And then you've got your board ready pack, ready for your investors or your trustees. So here's the workflow, the way it looks like. The CFO Mindset Financial Reporting Pack. And I call it the CFO Mindset because for me, CFO means clarity, foresight, and oversight. Those three things. You've got to lead with clarity, you've got to lead with foresight, and you've got to lead with oversight. That's so important. And so the clarity pack, the stage 1 is the pre-check. Stage 2 is the upload, with all the sources that you provide. And you're looking at your chart of accounts as well to see it will produce the information you're looking for. And step 3 is to build the cash flow. The system builds the cash flow by the indirect method so you can see where the cash went for the past period. Step 4 is the board commentary, synthesizing the narrative inside the system. And step 5 is having the action plan with your defined strategies and initiatives. So we're using the intelligence of the system based on the information provided. That's so important that we clarify that point. So what are we looking at here? What are we looking at here? Today, we're looking at an early bird adoption for the system. So imagine you have something that's producing the information for you. You've got a bookkeeper. Most businesses don't employ an accountant full time. Most small businesses have someone who looks after their books, part-time bookkeeper, and then once a year they send the information up to their accountants. So the only accuracy that comes into it is the end of the year when they file for the tax returns. Prior to that, they're not sure what's happening in the landscape. Here, we're going to give you peace of mind. So on this webinar, anytime we do this webinar, only on the webinar, the price is £497. All right. The standard license will be £997. And if you want a monthly oversight, monthly help, monthly assistance, that comes as £150 a month. So that's totally up to you. All right. So I'm going to break it down a bit more for you, but that's what we're dealing with right now for this system to work. Tag onto your system. We train your staff how to do it. We train your staff how to make it work. We train you so you can press the button. And the way the system works, you can be anywhere in the world to get this information. You don't have to be at your desk in your office. So get month-end clarity instantly without the admin. Here's the early bird price. Scan the QR code to gain access. Pay the $497, and you are the financial reporting clarity pack. All right. And what I've also done, there is we provide some prompts. If you want it, you can purchase some prompts. Yes, you can purchase some prompts. A prompt pack that helps you to break down what you've got and how the information comes out at you. Now, it's done at a price that you can afford. It's done at a price to help you with your business. Information allows you to make decisions, and this decision allows you to lead with confidence, lead with intent in your business. So here's a QR code. Here's a QR code for you right now. Take out your camera and take a picture, yes, of the QR code. You go to sales.businesscoachingclub.com. All right. I'll come back to this page, but I want to show you something else. I just want to show you something else so you get the hang of what I'm showing you in detail. So let's produce this a bit more for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So the CFO Mindset Financial Reporting Clarity Pack, as I said, the input and there's a clarity output. It's so important. I must impress on you the pre-check to validate the information. All right. So it means that the information that you're putting into the system, we have to make sure that you've done everything that's possible, everything that you should do to make call the accuracy of the data. We have a full checklist that we provide of what we do, and we'll flag things up that needs doing. All right? You upload your map, look at your standard chart of accounts to see if it can produce the information you're looking for, summarize it in some way, shape, or form. The third one is to build a cash flow. We're relying on a system to build a cash flow, looking at your liquidity. The fourth stage is the board commentary, the synthesizer system, and it uses the AI intelligence to provide the commentary. And then at the end, step 5, you get your action plan right to the pack. And that's decision, confident information that you can use to make decisions. So let's go a bit further with that. So I called it bridging the gap between the bookkeeper and the board. Yes, there's always a disparity there. The distance between the bookkeeper and the board, the bookkeeper, the director, and the board. Yep. Raw accounts, rich information to get it done on time, make sure it's there, make sure it reconciles, make sure it's clear, and then to produce the pack that the board understands. A lot of people on the board does not like spreadsheets. They do not like spreadsheets. And therefore, to provide standard commentary that makes sense takes time. It takes effort for an individual to do that. So the solution is the Clarity Pack, a standardized engine that processes the mess to produce action plans and reporting pack. So the client P&L, the balance sheet, we upload it, validation checks, upload it. It's a system. It's a system. It processes the information, and the output you get is your board commentary, your 3 statements for comparison, and your action plan. I can't stress that anymore. So step 1, here you go, guardrail. I'm sure you've heard of guardrails now. We're talking about AI. You tell it what not to do. Before analysis begins, we quality check the numbers to prevent garbage in and garbage out. If data fails a pre-check, the client receives a specific fix list. No analysis on bad data. Step 2, upload and map, systemizing the data for consistent analysis. Once the pre-check is passed, raw data is uploaded and mapped into the CFO mindset system. This ensures every ratio, chart, and comment links directly back to the accounts. All right, and you can see there that the raw data, the sales ledger, the bills, the staff costs, the bank loans, all come into the Clarity system buckets for you to understand and make decisions. The cash flow statement, we utilize the indirect method to reveal the truth about liquidity. This explicitly shows how profit turns or fails to turn into cash. And that's really helpful, because a lot of the times directors or board members can't understand what happened to the cash. What's the link between the profit that we made last year and the cash that we now hold in our bank account? What's the difference? What's happened? And that's what this provides. It provides peace of mind. So step 4, board level commentary, translating financial engineering into plain English, short, accessible paragraphs that a busy founder or trustee can read, understand, and act upon. P&L note, JetBrains, evaluate revenue, margins, profit drivers, the balance sheet, the cash flow. Yeah. Step 5 is the action plan. Synthesizing analysis into clear strategy. The data is distilled into 3-5 specific actions with estimated impact. So understand that. You get the quick wins, and then you can make 90-day moves. You know what you've got to do? Well, you've got debtors, you've got payables, you might have a number of things that you need to do. But the 3 to 5 specific action points are listed, and not just getting the raw data for you to look through yourself and decide what action need to take place. It synthesizes it for you and provides you with decision points. Notice what I said, decision points, okay? So one workflow, multiple assets tailored for different stakeholders. The board, 1, the board report, detailed Word document for audit trails. Step 2, the presentation, 8-slide deck for screen sharing. Step 3, the infographic. And step 4, the impact plan, prioritize action list with financials. The professional workflow trustees expect: validate, analyze, and execute. Pre-check, cash flow, and action plan. Go beyond the basic bookkeeping. Implement the tools to run the organization with a true CFO mindset. All right. And what we're now doing as well, we're providing you with even the audio version of this. The audio version of this. And, that will help you to hear what's happening in your business. Now, does that make sense? What do you say? Put a 2 in the chat if you agree with me. Put a 2 in the chat if you agree with me. It does make sense to have a full-blown system to clarify and for you to understand what's going on in your business. So, as I said, let's summarize this for you. The CFO Mindset Financial Reporting Pack. Yep, 5 stages that we go through to produce this information for you. Let's go back to what it looks like. There you get a view. Right, so there's an example. There's an example of what it could look like. And this is totally driven by your metrics. Now, when I did this for the BKC method, my logo is blue with gold writing. And what I did, the system synthesized the colors into the pack. And so if you want a colorful pack, then drive it by your logo. If you want this clear black and white, then we can do that as well. All right. Just provide a clear logo to do that as well. But here's an example of what you will get. This information is valuable. This is what's driving your business and scaling your business for the next 11, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months to come. You're scaling your business based on this information that you're producing. As I said, it's all based on the information that you provide that's coming from your system. Early bird, £497. The standard price is $997. So just for the webinar today, it's $497. The standard license will be $997. Optional monthly oversight, £150 a month for support. So after the 7 days, we've implemented it, we walk away and we leave you. If you want further conversations to take place, to provide you with support, then it will cost you £150 a month to do that. Okay? Now, remember, this is not bookkeeping, guys. This is not bookkeeping, looking after your records, but I will fact check your records. I will fact check your records and tell you and give you a fixed list. Yes? Give you a fixed list of what needs fixing to make the data that's coming out make sense. Right. So it's your month-end clarity. Now, most month-ends to people are a headache because of what they've got to do, crunch on time. But there's a whole process now by which you can automate everything from the invoicing going into your system, the supplier invoices coming in, invoices coming from other suppliers who probably use the same system as you. There's a way to streamline this so it becomes seamless. And all you do is check. You spend a lot of time checking the information that's provided. That's far less time than you crunching the numbers yourself. So the early bird price is £497. Take the screenshot. There's the QR code. And I hope to see you again. I hope to be working with you. I hope that you find this useful. And just imagine what you could do, what you could achieve, and how pleased your board will be, your directors will be, with receiving information on time that makes sense, that's clear, that's able to use in your business with clear decision points. I'm Alex Gordon from the Business Coaching Club. If you go to sales.businesscoachingclub.com, you'll find the purchase button, or you can just scan the QR code. And if you know anyone who needs this kind of help, provide them with the link. In today's market, it's not the data. It's not the... What did I say the other day? I was speaking to an organization, and I said to them, We have been trained on tasks. So a lot of the qualifications that people have is I've been trained on tasks, trained to do tasks, and we get certified in the tasks. Now that AI has come along, and they're now deciding that AI can take over these tasks, these routines, and do them much faster, never have to sleep, never take time off, never take a day off work. And so these routines are being performed by a machine, by a bot. Now that those tasks have gone away, you still have 20, 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of key information about how your business works. The human side of the business. You have information about. So you should be stepping up your game now to decide, what can I use? What tools can I use to help make better decisions in my business? What tools can I use to help the board make better decisions? What tools can I use? How can I help with providing that information to provide clarity, to provide foresight, and to provide oversight in the 21st century? 2026 is a game changer. People are waking up to the idea, but also be careful. Be careful. There's a recent case of a very large organization providing information and didn't fact check the information. Provide the information to government organization. Didn't fact check it, got paid a fortune for it, and then had to crawl back because they made a mistake. Everything you do must be checked. Everything you do must be fact checked. So you may not be the person putting it together anymore, but you've got to make sense of what AI does. You have to make sense and be happy to sign off what your assistant is doing for you. AI has become your assistant, and you have to sign it off for it to make sense. So don't just rely on what's in front of you. Don't just rely on what's there. Make sense of it, sign it off, and make sure you're happy with it. Guys, this is Alex Gordon from the businesscoachingclub.com saying to you, are you failing your business because of not knowing your numbers? Now, put a 2 in the chat if this makes sense to you. And I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.